Hey there, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and here I am in the car again, headed down to Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland, but not for another new comic book day. Well, today is a really cold day here in Baltimore. It is a Saturday morning, and Third Eye is hosting Charles Soule and Ryan Brown for a big signature signing event. And I can't wait to get down there. I've got some great books to get signed. You might know this pair as the creative team behind 8 Billion Genies and their newest book, Lucky Devils, that had just come out. I think the second issue had just come out. So I'm going down. I've got some great books to get signed. Once I get everything signed, I'll come home, or I'll re-bag and board everything, because you know I've got them in my protective window bags right now. I'll get everything signed. I'm going to re-bag them when I get home. We'll do a little show and tell right after that, so stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Very easy to get that done.
Welcome to Third Eye. How you doing?
Oh, thanks. Nice to be here.
Good.
Always.
Have you been here before, Charles?
Oh yeah, I have. I came. Steve is amazing.
Yeah.
And he had me in over a decade ago for my very first creator-owned book. Well, almost my first one. It was an image book called 27, and so this would have been in 2012. And he treated me, the same way he treats me now. It's. I mean, more books on the table, but he's
absolutely
great. Yeah, Steve and Trish both they really treat creators well.
Well, congratulations on both of the books here. This has been fantastic stuff. I can't wait to see what Hollywood does to this. Hopefully, they do it justice.
That's what we are.
I really hope so. They've got a lot of incredible talent they've already hired to develop it, so we have fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, we try to come to as many as we can. It's just with work sometimes, Work. Yeah. Well, I work in a wedding venue.
Those are tough with the foil on there.
Yeah. I mean, I've signed thousands of these at this point, so I kind of know how to do it. But yeah, a little bit.
So I got to ask about all the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
So I was thinking about this, how do you balance being creative and sticking with canon? What's existing with Star Wars right now, but creating new ongoing stuff. I mean, it seems like you have to pay attention to what's in the past to be able to create new stuff.
I mean, I've been doing it since 2015, so it's like learning to play an instrument. It's always awesome. And you just get better at doing this stuff. And for me, I just kind of learned how to dance between the raindrops of the rules and the stories, and it seems like it's worked out pretty well.
It really does. I mean, you've really fit in there, so that's really good. Ryan, thank you so much for signing the books. I definitely appreciate that.
Despicable Me?
Yes. Sweet. Despicable Me, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do you mind if I get a photo with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right, everybody. I just finished up at Third Eye Comics, and I had a great time at the signing here with Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. I got a lot of books signed, so I'm going to go home now. I'm going to take them out of those window bags that I made. I'm going to put them in fresh bags and boards, and we'll do a little show and tell. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
One eternity later.
All right, everybody, I made it back home after going to the signing, and I took all the comic books out of those blue window bags that I had created for this. It protects the comic books as the artists are handling the books. But I took them out once I got home and put them into, all the comics into new fresh bags and boards so everything will be presentable. So let's get right into this. So the first book I'm going to show, of course, with the two of them there, you got Charles Soule and Ryan Brown working together on their second book in the last couple of years. You've got the Lucky Devils book. I think we're already on issue 2 of this. And I ended up giving them a couple copies of number 1 right there. And if you look, their signatures up there at the top. You've got Charles Soule right there. And over here you've got Ryan Brown. But you've got a nice little remark. Can you see that okay up there at the top? So he did a little devil up there. And he did that on both of those on number 1s. And I did pick up one variant. I didn't go deep on variants on this book. But I did pick up the Frank Miller variant, and they did sign that one. I may end up getting Frank Miller to sign this, but honestly, there's so many things. If I get a chance to get Frank Miller to sign, I'm going to get him to sign before I'll get him to sign this. But you never know. I still like this, so the two of them signed this book as well. But because this is the second series that they've worked on that's been pretty big, this one hasn't had the same heat, even though they are little devils, or lucky devils. The first series is the one that really blew up a couple years ago. It's been optioned. Can't wait to see what Hollywood does with this property. But I had to get cover A's of 8 Billion Genies signed. And again, we've got Charles Soule right there. And Ryan Brown signed over here. And he did a little genie remark. And I got a couple copies of cover A there. And I'd already had one of the other covers. I think it's the cuss words cover. I had bought that someplace, and I cannot even recall where I got it, where they had already signed it. So I didn't need to get that one signed. But I did have the Jenny Frison cover. And this is a book that at one point I had considered getting graded. Of course, the heat has come off the book a lot. But I decided not to on this book. The book actually had a few little defects over here. But I still like the cover. And I plan on taking this to Heroes Con this year when Jenny Frison is down there. I'll take that along with some of her Poison Ivy and Something's Killing the Children and Catwoman covers to get signed this year. At least I hope so. I didn't make it last year, but this year I hope to make it down. And this is one of those books I will definitely take with me to get Jenny Frison to sign. So that is everything that I've got Ryan Brown to sign as well. Of course, Charles Soule signed everything. He wrote all of this. But Ryan Brown did all the artwork for this. So that's everything that I had Ryan Brown sign. Excuse me. But Charles Soule has done so much other stuff that's really top-notch. So I had a lot of other books. And technically, this was a launch signing for his new Star Wars book. This right here, Legacy of Vader. And it is the story of Kylo Ren. And I ended up having several copies of this. And it's a little hard to see. He signed in black. It's right there. And I ended up getting multiple copies of this book signed. I got 4 of those signed right there. And I got 2 of one of the variant covers. And when I did the new comic book day video of this book right here, I showed picking up this book because this character right here is the first appearance. I don't think it's going to be in this book, or maybe it's going to be in issue 2, but it's definitely the first appearance now because it's on one of the variant covers. So I ended up getting a couple copies of that signed, and it's a little hard to see, but he's signed down here at the bottom, right above the Jedi Knights. It's a sneak preview. I think that's going to be its own series. So I ended up getting a couple copies of that signed. I don't know if these are going to be worth that much, but I love getting comics signed. It's one of my favorite things in the hobby. And after I get something signed, then I start expanding that search for the other creators on the book to get them to sign it. I love turning comics into jam pieces like that. That wasn't the only Star Wars books that I did get Charles Soule to sign. New just a couple weeks ago was Star Wars: A New Legacy, and this is an anthology. You've got 3 different stories in here, and he signed it right here. And I would have had Jason Aaron, who does one of the other stories, signed in the previous signing. A week ago from this signing was Jason Aaron, and I hope you guys have a chance to watch that video. But this one, I should have had Jason Aaron sign it, but I had so many other Jason Aaron books. And there are limits, so I did not get Jason Aaron to sign this, as much as I talk about doing jam pieces. But there were other more important Jason Aaron books to get signed. But I did get Charles Soule to sign this, and maybe at some point I will, if I have an opportunity with a free signing with Jason Aaron, I may add this book to that list. And then one last Star Wars book. This was from, I'm not even sure, I think this was last year's Free Comic Book Day. I could be wrong, but we've got the Star Wars book right there, Free Comic Book Day. You got this beautiful Skywalker cover, right? You got Luke and you've got Darth Vader right there, and that's pretty cool. He's signed right there in the middle on the lightsaber. So I thought that was kind of cool. Charles Soule also worked before he was working on Marvel's Star Wars stories. He was doing a lot of other stuff as well, and he did launch the new She-Hulk book. Was this somewhere between 2010 and 12? It was something like that. I really didn't. I picked up an issue 1 of this, but I didn't enjoy the art at the time, and I did not continue with this series. But good number 1 right there to have him sign. He says, "See you in court, Charles Soule." So this story, of course, has got Jennifer Lawrence going back into attorney-in-law, and it's kind of neat. I think a little bit of the She-Hulk MCU TV series was based on this. At least that's what I've heard. So I don't really know that, but you guys can let me know if that's true down in the comments section. And then the last thing I got him to sign, and I picked up some really nice copies. I got these as soon as they announced the Charles Soule signing. I'm going, what would I want him to sign? I had to go out there and look, and there were some things I did have, like some of these Star Wars books, but other things I didn't have. And one of the things that I kind of missed was his run on Wolverine, the miniseries, The Death of Wolverine. And I ended up ordering several copies of that. And I've got issues number 1 right there. And those are those foil covers. And it's a little hard to see. It's right there by my finger. He signed up there. And he knew the first pin that he did sign here. And he did 3 of these for me. But these 2 were the second 2, and they actually, it's a little, let me see if I can go in there. You can see his signature right up there. Actually came out pretty good. I'll have to get Steve McNiven to sign this if I have a chance to get him at some point, definitely on these books. Art's fantastic in this. Why I wasn't reading this at the time, I don't know. I was probably going through one of my hiatuses on X-Men. My monthly orders were getting too much. I was not enjoying the comic books, and every now and then when I realized, man, I'm just not enjoying these books. I'm just buying them out of habit as a collector, and I'm not enjoying these books. I'm not even reading these books. And at that point, I just start chopping titles. I've done that with Spider-Man. I've done that with X-Men titles, and I'm currently in the middle of that with one of the X-Men titles, although I did pick up the new X-Men with, what is his name? I can't remember his name now, but one of the new artists were on the X-Men title, Diaz. Oh boy, I can't. Netho Diaz, I believe. I am picking that up just because of the artwork again. But I wasn't reading this at the time, so I never had these. But I picked up these 3 copies from an eBay seller. I picked up 3 because I wanted to make sure I had at least one really good one if I ever want to get it graded. But I went ahead. I had room to be able to get all of these signed, so I got all of them signed. This first one, pen didn't work quite as well as it started. And as I was saying, he's even mentioned, he said he's signed so many of these books, he knows it's difficult to sign on these books. And I wish he had started that pen a little sooner, but the other 2 came out really good. But those were the last of the comic books. But before I even had this, remember I said I didn't read this book when it came out. I just recently picked those comics up from an eBay seller. But a while back, like, I want to read this story. So I went to Ollie's, and as I'm there, I'm going through their graphic novels, and some Ollie's have really good graphic novel sections. They had the hardbound Death of Superman. That's really good. Death of Wolverine. And I'm going, okay, this gave me the chance to read it. So I sat down and read this through this right here. And this is actually the first thing that he ended up signing. And let me show you. Where is it here? Here we go. He drew a little face on Wolverine there. And it's Logan, rest in peace, Charles Soule. So again, I'll keep all of these together. We'll keep monitoring opportunities for Steve McNiven to see if we can get a signing out of that. That would be pretty cool. Had a lot of fun today, guys. If you guys haven't checked out Third Eye Comics, they have a lot of signings, and from this point right here, they are going to have some big signings coming up. I know Scott Snyder's coming back with a group of artists with him. There is Chip Zdarsky is going to be coming in. So just a few days from now on New Comic Book Day, they're bringing in Kyle Higgins, who of course writes Radiant Black and all those titles associated with that. And I spent yesterday actually going to my comic bin, going through all my new comic books, trying to find as many of the Radiant Blacks. And I did pretty good. I realized I had almost all the first 12 issues, except I think issue number 3. And I had some other good books that he had done, the super massive books. And there was a couple other things that came out at the same time. So I'm going to go to that signing. So that signing will be coming up as well. So definitely check out Third Eye Comics. I leave their website information down in the description so you guys can check them out. And maybe at some point you'll come to one of their signings and I'll get to meet you. So you just have to say hi to me, because I've got so many guys there that have met me because of seeing me on the comic channel. So on this channel right here. So it's awesome. It's a good way to meet other people, other collectors in the hobby. And it was fun today. The weather was really cold. You saw everybody standing out there in their winter coats. It warmed up by the time the signing actually started, so that was good. But I was glad to get inside. And the weather was really predicting to be pretty bad leading up to this, but it was a bright, sunny day. It just was very, very chilly to begin with. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here today. Definitely, again, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of the books and if you had a chance to meet these two creatives. And if you enjoy this kind of content, definitely hit that like, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of the episodes that I put out each and every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Take care. I will see you for the next episode. Just remember, every comic has a story.